PDP. Thank you so much indeed for the time tonight.
Thank you, Seun. How are you?
I'm good. Will you be on the street too? On the protest?
It depends. It really depends. It depends. It depends. My mood, how I see the plans going, the language, the potential, Let me put it this way to you.
So really the opposition, your party is not behind the planning?
Seun, it is irresponsible for anybody to take what he has not invested in. And it is criminally painful to have government people and supporters of the ruling party look for who to blame but themselves for this. It's even worse to imagine that a nation of 200 million people, Nigerians, young people, don't have a mind of their own. Yes, I understand the business of people who cry wolf. But the truth of the matter is that the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria, the party that I proudly represent, is too responsible to join in this cacophony that creates the impression that, young people don't have the constitutional right to protest.
Has anyone said that?
When we were, just 1 second, when we were in government, it was our rivals, then in opposition, who championed protests and led the street protest. But because we are far more responsible and we understand the delicate nation of nation managing the country, we haven't done that. But let no one in their imagination now begin to blame us or blame anybody at that for activities that all of us are wondering, how do we manage it going forward? So putting it straight on the table. Yes, we recognize the right of people to protest. We respect the language and whatever it is that they're bringing to the table. We caution the federal government to be responsible, reasonable, and understand that one of the critical, legs of democracy is freedom of association, freedom of protest. And that, in fact, a test of their capacity to manage things will be how they handle this very serious situation that the country has found itself. I quarrel with the choice of the language of most of their supporters. They seem to want to say, give us time. We made the country somehow. And you ask yourself, are these people joking? You got this nation. This nation was passed to you in 2015. To date, that's 9 years.
Not to Bola Tinubu.
That is irrelevant. It's one government, it's one party. I'm not speaking to you as an individual. I'm speaking to you on behalf of the only democratic institution in this country called PDP. We are not blaming them for their misstep for 8 years. Who's going to hold himself responsible for the activities that they themselves took in the last 1 year to make it worse? And I can list some for you. When you take over a nation that all the indicators tells you we have a problem of unemployment, we have a problem of poverty and all that, and the first thing you can see to do before you even get onto the chair is to remove subsidy, whatever that meant, who's responsible but you? When you choose to remove subsidy before you even breathe on that and see the impact of that, you go and float the currency and make your currency lose value overnight. Who's going to blame anybody but you?
Are those decisions wrong?
They are so wrong because
to remove subsidy.
No,
but I imagine your principal said he wanted to
listen. I am not in the business of this. We're not in campaign period now. Let me tell you the fundamental difference between our position on subsidy and theirs. We come with experience because in the Obasanjo Atiku regime, we embarked on phased removal of subsidy. First point. Second point, we engage the civil society, the organized labor, the private sector, the manufacturer for a roadmap on how to do it. When they say this must happen first, we make that happen, then we move to the next step. Then we make that happen, then we move to the next step. Nobody takes government and in a lackadaisical attitude, in an unfeeling and unempathetic manner, pretend as if he's talking only to his overfed friends. Nigeria is made up of maybe 220 or more, and the vast majority of us are poor. And do not be deceived that because you can afford 3 square meals, that means that everybody in the whole of this country can afford it. And if they cannot afford it, the question then gets to be asked, what then is the responsibility of government other than to make sure that the people in the country can survive?
What should the president? You are condemning the decision of the president to remove subsidy on the first day. There are those who will argue that naturally, by execution of time, that the issue of subsidy came dead as soon as the president came on board, because in the budget, in the first place, it wasn't even being catered for.
Let me make it easy for you, my dear friend. The language was even wrong. You can't say you are removing subsidy when you are floating the currency, because at the end of the day, you're going to run yourself into a crisis. Or how do you even keep the price the way you intended? Why didn't you just say, I'm going to increase the price, so that the room for negotiation can be there? Right now, people suspect that some kind of subsidy is being paid, because when you check the landing cost of PMS and how much the people are paying, you know that there's a bit of a gap. So what have you really done? Listen, my friend, and nobody should try to pussyfoot our face or give us the impression that everybody in this country is mainly stupid. You cannot run a big nation like ours in a manner that suggests that you have not really thought through your policies, you have not impacted it on how it's going to impact the people, and you have not come up with creative ways to solve the problem. I'll give you another one. If you remove subsidy on the first day, why must it take you 1 year and 2 months before you can increase the salary of civil servant? Did the price not start impacting from the next day? When you were throwing money all over the place, saying you are doing palliative, giving money to your friends who are governors, misbehaving all over the country, what did you think was going to happen? Okay, now we're here. And I want to say to Nigerians, with every sense of responsibility, because we have ruled this country, we've led this country before, and we plan to lead it in the future.
The APC will say that
therefore, we will not...
You ran this country aground.
Are you for real? Do you not have statistics?
That's what the APC will say.
Forget what the APC is saying. They can tell themselves all sorts of lies.
Would you say that the PDP gave Nigeria a good country?
At the worst of our performance, Jonathan years, we were still doing 5-point-something growth %. Do you know what the size of the Nigerian economy was in 2015? Was the largest growing economy in Africa. Where are we today? I'm not here for that. Sheung, we have found ourselves in a situation. They don't even know how to get themselves out of it, and so we have to help them now. And I'll say to the Nigerian people, once we choose democracy, the demagogy of language of dictatorship has to change. When we were running military dictatorship and all of that, the demagogy of strike, put people on the street, we're not going to agree. That was the language of then. In a civilian democracy, the demagogy must be consultation, conversation, and short intervention. You can't have a 10-day protest. If you say you want to have a 10-day protest, do you know what 10 days does to the country? Why don't you do it 3 days so they get the message? Even as it is now, are they not already pissing in their pants with all of their aides running up and down the place and ventilating in manners that suggest that they are just running like a rat on a hot plate? And now we are the ones who have to now say to people, Nigerians, this country is ours. There will be a day for that day of rage, and it is on the next day of the next election. Because I tell you what, democracy is, as it were, civilian monarchy. But the beauty of that civilian monarchy is that it is termed. And therefore, we know that after every 4 years, we can have a referendum on their performance. And if they have not done well, we can vote them out. But if we insist that we're going to do some copycat syndrome that's going to make our country become ugly because of their inability to manage things, the fact that people say they are coming for protest, have they told you they are going to go and start burning things? Have they told you they are going to go and start destroying the country? Why are you making those assumptions on their behalf? The responsibility of security agencies is to provide a condom for them and make sure that they can operate within. Look, there was a protest in Leeds a few days ago. Young people were getting angry. For some reason, young people are getting angry all over the world. Did you see the people of that country start shooting at or trying to say that young people can't do that?
I imagine that, for those who experienced the fallout of the EndSARS of 2020 October, those who think that if you go to Lagos, the Lagos governor, interestingly, is still the person who is in office today, will tell you that it was a very, very sad day for the people of Lagos, considering the wanton destruction of property. Interestingly, my house where I live, it was around that corridor, around the Julius Berger area in Lagos, where you find the BRT buses, loads and loads of them that were destroyed. A court was razed down. The only forensic laboratory in the whole of the region was also burned down. The question is that wouldn't you be one of those who will blame this government that they don't have foresight for being proactive?
For the benefit of all of us who are members of this country and not only members and league people of the APC, let me educate you. There was a protest when Jonathan was in charge. Did it lead to that? Why didn't it lead to that? Why was it the protest that the APC managed that took place underneath the APC same regime?
So there's nothing to fear.
The point I'm making is that even that NSAS process was a mismanagement of their capability. How are we able to manage all of them, including all of their leaders, the Tunde Bakaris of this world, the Buharis of this world, the Bola Tinubu, when they were ventilating protests? Why were we able to manage them? Because we understood that it is the inalienable right of the citizens to protest. And it is the responsibility of the government to manage the protest until they can bring it to a de-escalation.
So you imagine that if an Atiku is in office, he would have done better. Is that what you are trying to say?
You know, when you put it this way, you really put a dagger in my heart, because he would not only have done better. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu came to that office with limited experience on managing the infrastructure called the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The best of his experience was just sitting down in Lagos and running Lagos. Lagos is not Nigeria. You can't compare that to somebody who has been vice president of the country, sitting with Obasanjo, running the country together with him, learning the ropes there and understanding that even from the forming of government, you balance things. Shehu, I will not have anybody suggest that the PDP is responsible for the. We are not. We're not the ones calling people to protest. We're not the ones instigating anybody. We're not the ones fingering anybody. All we are saying to them is that, gentlemen in charge of the country today, the language to speak to young people when they are angry is a lot of begging, a lot of empathy, a lot of conciliatory conversation. You don't bully them. All right.